You're up, Commissioner.
All right, Bannock County Commissioners are now in session. No changes to the agenda. First item on our agenda is we do have a bill for ambulance.
Mr. Chair, I'd move that we enter into the Board of Ambulance.
We have a motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And it's just our monthly payment and our refund.
Mr. Chair, I move that we accept the bill as presented and exit the Board of Ambulance.
A motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, next we go into invoices, Commissioners report, and credit applications. A couple of quick questions on the invoices, or the Commissioners report. These are boiler charges, and I didn't know if they should have been with the insurance or how they're being looked at.
Dan just happens to be in the room. My guess is these are for the county boiler.
You want to come look at this,
they're not.
Dan?
Hang on, no, they're not.
It was gel, right?
That was Joe.
You
I
can
don't
come
know.
look.
I can follow up on this.
I just want to make sure that
It
if
looks
it's
like
supposed to be covered by insurance, we're covering it with the insurance. If
parts
not,
for gauges, water meters. The vendor is Granger. And then Mountain. Oh, that's a different question. But these two are Silver Creek.
To check.
Okay, I can follow up on them
okay.
and then see why we're paying.
And then the other one I got marked back there, it's the GPS for mosquito. And I know we talked about it before. It's like $50 a month, but we're not doing anything with.
We have those are the truck monitors. They have GPS units in all the trucks. And we pay a monthly maintenance fee on
Okay.
those.
I just wondered why we do it on mosquito when we're not fighting
out of season.
mosquitoes.
That's a very good question too. I'll follow up with Kyle and ask him if we can deactivate those in the winter.
I know we talked about it one other time, and
Because the same would go for noxious weed.
Yes.
and then Braeden hadn't been here, so there's a lot of invoices.
He can't be sick anymore.
Before we release the checks on the boiler, I will verify if they are bills that the insurance should pay. We can just submit those to the insurance monthly reimbursement.
Okay. Yeah, like I said, when I was reading through them, just one of them that caught me.
I can try and text or email Teresa and see if she can respond before the end of the meeting too.
This one I kind of had a question about too, because it says Bannock County Ambulance District.
Oh, this is paying for the remount for the remount for the ambulance that was ordered.
So it should have been under the ambulance district, not under.
Probably should have.
Okay, we'll
signed
hold that
under
out and go back in.
That one, well, I'll wait till you go on the board ambulance.
Okay, okay. So this is a $200,000 to City Pocatello we talked about on Tuesday.
Yes.
We're good with it.
Yes. one is also out of the ambulance, so if you want to put that one off with this one.
True.
Sorry, I should have marked them.
Okay, then we have one here for Precision Glass. You want to talk about it?
I need to look at it because I don't specifically.
That was the veterans.
Oh, yes. When we set the budget for FY '24, we have $120,000 budgeted in ARPA for the windows, and then we left $30,000 in their budget to cover windows from an overage from the prior year. Instead of splitting the $150,000 between two departments, what I'd like to do is move one of the approved ARPA projects, the ceiling and foundation, $32,000. I'm hoping that the board will let me pay that $32,000 out of the Veterans Fund, and then that way we don't have to split the window project into two different funds.
Okay.
It's going to be a wash, $2,000 difference, but that shouldn't be a big deal. So I just wanted to make sure you were okay with that and have that on the record that we were going to make that adjustment.
We're good.
Okay, Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the invoices, commissioners' reports, and credit applications as presented.
Got a motion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Let's go back into the board.
Mr. Chair, I move that we go back into the Board of Ambulance.
Got a motion, all in favor say aye.
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 So the one invoice is for the $200,000 for the alerting system that we're going to reimburse the city for, and the other invoice is for the ambulance remount that was budgeted for. We had $168,000 budgeted for that remount. It came in at $184,748. That was because we changed the, I'm not going to say this right, I think it was because we changed the chassis to be a more solid frame to put the box on. And that was a last minute item that Chief O'Hara had requested and did not get included in the budget, but there is sufficient funds because the alerting system was budgeted at a dollar amount higher than the 200. So there are funds to cover that difference.
Okay. Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the two invoices as presented and discussed
Can go out of.
and exit the Board of Ambulance.
We have a motion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Alright. Then there was the other one that you want to talk about with Adam here? Or-
Yes. And you probably signed those within your invoices.
Good morning, gentlemen. That invoice was for our switching upgrades. It was budgeted at $50,898. But the quote was done in March, so when we had them redo the quote, it came in about $1,700 higher. I'm just humbly requesting that we can cover that $1,700 difference with ARPA funds. If not, we'll cover it out of our operating budget somehow.
We do have, when Road and Bridge requested monies for their new trucks, originally the dollar amount was $728,000. They actually only needed $708,000 because they came in under budget. So we have sufficient funds to cover the overage, but for transparency purposes, we need to have that formally approved by the board.
Okay.
If you choose to cover it, otherwise Adam said he would try to absorb it.
Yeah, we'll work it into the budget somehow.
But for reporting purposes, it would be a lot easier just to keep it.
These vendors, it's very tricky to get these quotes and have them be honored 6 months later with the way that the markets are going and the supply chain stuff. So the original quote they came back with, I was like, no, we've got to stick to this, and this was as close as we could get it, so.
Okay.
Adam and I have set up a process that maybe what we'll do is similar to the sheriff vehicles.
Yeah.
When he takes so long to deliver, we'll just have him pull the quote again as we send out the clerk's recommendation, and then he'll verify if it's going to be right. If it is, then we'll be fine. If it needs to be higher, we can adjust it to
Yeah.
proposed. And then he may come before the board once budget's approved to get them ordered to ensure that the price hasn't changed.
Yeah, unfortunately, the software stuff just moves quick this day and age, so.
Well, it's the same discussion that we had with the group last night down in Downey. And we gotta adhere to the budget.
Absolutely.
And we don't go over budget unless we come in ahead of time and approve it. This after buying and hoping to approve. Talking about ARPA dollars, I mean, we had a meeting, we said where all ARPA funds are gonna go right now, and so there isn't ARPA funds just to pass around
Sure.
anymore the way it was, so.
And Adam was, the first thing out of Adam's mouth was that he would cover it. And I said, well, let's see if we've got money, because I knew we had this.
Yeah, and we do have that IT budget that's for consumable resources, and we could use the funds out of there. That's what we do normally when we have a little bit of overages here and there. Yeah, unfortunately, it's one of these things just change in the price realm. We try to bake that into the budget, but again, being fiduciarily responsible, I don't want to add arbitrary percentages to these things.
Yeah.
The downside is some of these software vendors, that seems like exactly what they do. They just kind of, oh, now you're asking for a quote a few months later, it's just a little bit more, and they just kind of expect us to absorb that, so.
Well, Christie performs a lot of magic, but we like it ahead of time instead of after.
Absolutely, absolutely. We try to get it as close as we can.
So, anyway, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. All right, next on the agenda, we have pay period 10/21 through 11/03.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the pay period report as presented.
A motion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And next we have certificates of residency. One is an approval and one is a denial. They've tried to get a hold of this individual to have an application put in that they could read and understand, and they haven't presented, so.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the applications, the residency applications as presented.
And deny one.
Oh, yeah, approve one and deny one, excuse me. Well, do we need to state that on the record, which one we're approving and denying? Okay, so we will approve the Williams application and deny the Armstrong application.
All right, we have a motion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Next, we have salary rate approval forms. And just for, when we had originally talked about a snow groomer, we talked about utilizing Bannock County employees to do that. The way that Kyle has chosen to go is to do part-time or temp employees. One is an experienced groomer, and he's going to break in the other one. The funds are limited to what is available in that budget. So,
Okay. Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the salary rate approval forms as presented.
have a motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Like Dan, you're up first.
Good morning. And Kendall, Facilities Director, just for my monthly update. As far as maintenance goes, you probably noticed we had a hole out in the parking lot. We had a steam line that has rotted out, and Star Corp actually came and helped us out with that. About a 4-foot section of pipe was replaced, and then Road and Bridge came and helped us out with the asphalt patch, so thanks to Dustin and Kyle on that one. The annex, the sewer has backed up a couple of times, and we had it cambered this last time. That line is rotted out, so the good news is the restrooms on the main floor actually come out to 6th Street. Everything in the basement goes to the alleyway, and that's the one that's rotted out. So at first I thought, well, we'll just get rid of those bathrooms in the basement, but also the floor drains down there are hooked to it. And that basement does flood from time to time, so we feel like we better fix it so we can utilize those floor drains when it does flood again. So I was gonna have Star Corp come give us some bids, and maybe Portneuf Valley Plumbing, have them come look at it as well and give us a price. But not an emergency, I just blocked off the bathrooms for now and hope for the best for a minute. I wanted to thank Ryan and Josh. We have a job opening right now. We're up to 40 applications with that new software. Never seen anything like it. They just roll in daily. Super happy with the quality as well. So
Oh, really?
we're gonna
That's good
start.
too.
We're gonna start interviews tomorrow. But yeah, it's working for me, anyways. It's working fantastic.
Good.
We did start safety walkthroughs yesterday with HR as well. I think they've really shown a lot of dedication to the safety program and making a lot of improvements. It helps us out too to get input from different department heads and make a priority list, and every year try to whittle off as much as we can off that list. As far as projects are going, looking forward to working with Hal on the forensic building. I think I learn something every time I work with them, so I always look forward to spending time with Hal and look forward to moving forward with that project. The first phase of the juvenile probation project is pretty far underway. We have carpet scheduled in the next week or two on the first phase. We're going to do a little shuffle with people before we really do the demo work in the big section of that project, but they've been super helpful over there with the kids. They help us with demo, and it's been great. So,
Specialty.
yeah, they are fantastic. They break things fantastic. The building permit for the Downey Fairgrounds barn, I have that in my hands, so we are gonna get going on that in the next week or two. Scott stepped up and is gonna help me out with digging the hole, and I'll have my crew down there helping with rebar so we can get that poured. It's the easiest way to do the foundation and footing. The building is ready to be delivered, so
Of course.
yeah, yeah. So I think we stepped in at the right time and got them straightened out, and it's gonna go well, and look forward to getting that one done. 218, the courtroom is for our end of things, it's done. We're waiting for the state to come in and install their recording equipment, and I'm sure we'll be in the next week or two here doing that. So once they're done, we'll set the furniture up. I just don't want to set the furniture up and have it damaged while they're in there. But it's done and ready to go. As soon as we close that permit out, we'll get the permit for 320 on that courtroom.
Okay. So going back to the Downey building, do we have blankets and stuff like that? I mean, we can cover the concrete.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
we have blankets from previous years that we've kind of saved up, and we'll get it covered. And yeah, I think, and Hal helped us with the design for the foundation and footing, so that was.
Well, I just thought about it as we was down there last
Yeah.
night. And we're gonna dig in 2 weeks.
Yeah, we need to.
Who knows what the weather's gonna be, and
Scott said he would get in there with that backhoe as soon as he can, so as soon as he's done, I'll be right behind him, setting that for him and putting that rebar in, and we'll get it covered. I think we'll be all right. I think weather's been awfully nice to us so far, but we did some exterior lighting repairs. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but it's a lot brighter out there. We've had lights these LED lights, they promise you they're gonna last forever, but they start yellowing out, and about half the light they used to put out, and even the interior lights will start doing that. You'll notice they start turning yellow. So hopefully the new generation of LEDs lasts longer and do better than the first generation.
mine have lasted 4 to 5 years.
Yep, that's what we're saying.
And they're
Yep.
popping.
Yep. Ashley's not feeling well today, but I'm sure she would want to fill you in on the cleaning contractor. They're still doing great, even with the new buildings. We've had 0 complaints, and that's awfully nice. Ashley works directly with them, keeping their supplies on hand, and I just let her handle it. She does a great job, and I'll just stay out of the way for that one.
Okay.
And then the jail boiler, Star Corp's saying mid-December they'll be done. So the pieces they had missing was a freak drive to make those pumps run correctly, and a little bit of equipment for the cooling system, which is super important and critical right now. But they're saying mid-December they'll be done, and happy to wrap that one up.
We're gonna have a ribbon cutting party or something.
Have a barbecue on the boiler.
Teresa just responded, those invoices were regular maintenance and stuff.
Okay.
So they were not a part of the project.
Okay, thanh you.
I think that's all I have for you today.
Okay, we'll just stay right there, and
Oh, okay.
Ashley's coming up next.
Oh.
Hello.
Hello.
I just wanted to present a contract. I think you guys have seen it. It's with Versatile Cleaning, and I know that there was a follow-up with wanting us to look at Night Owl. So I just wanted to follow up and let you know my experience. We actually haven't had somebody consistently do any cleaning at D6 treatment. It's all eventually ends up being volunteer work from our participants doing some service hours. And so that's been difficult for the last, well, almost 5 years. We actually, a couple years ago, tried to work with Night Owl, and they worked with us for about a month and then stopped services. They just kind of ended up not coming through for us, and so we worked with them for about a month, and then they just ended the agreement with us. And then we tried another gal. She was private with Portland Health Trust, and she lasted about 2 months. So we kind of struggled getting some cleaning services there. So I know that we went, Night Owl came and did a bid on Tuesday, and I actually haven't seen the official bid. I know there was a number that was sent, that was emailed to me, that I think it ended up being like,
$110 cheaper.
yes. And I understand that, and I understand why we would want it cheaper. It always looks nice, but my experience hasn't been great with Night Owl from previous. And again, I don't have a contract. They didn't send me a contract or anything like that. So the only contract I have is what's in front of me.
Yeah.
So, and I did some follow-up with this Versatile training or cleaning. Health West works with them, that's in our building. And I talked to Lynn MacArthur directly and just said, how's his services? And they have loved him, said that he's shown up, he's been consistent, he's done a great job for them. So I wanted to make sure I did some type of reference on what I'm getting.
So my first question is, how is this budgeted?
So it's in the budget. It's a budget line item. I have $6,000 in the budget for cleaning services.
Okay. And $110 does make a difference to me.
I understand.
And we've been using Night Owl for the last 6 months.
Over a year.
Is it over a year now? And we've expanded. In fact, they're doing the village also. And so, and Ashley's working with them, so I don't see any reason to spend another $110 a month to have a contract with another group that we already have contracts with. So I'd just send try them, and if there's problems, talk with Ashley. And
So is she going to be supervising that? How does that work? Like, is that
she's the
is she go-
contact. If you have problems with them and stuff, if things aren't getting done the way that you want them to get done, talk to Ashley and she'll make sure that they get done.
So you want my contract to go through Ashley? Ashley's going
No.
to, she's going to
No,
supervise that. She's going to.
it'll be the county's contract with Night Owl.
Okay.
that will-
But I still pay the bill, and I still have to get the cleaning, all the cleaning material for this person.
How's it set up?
We supply everything. I don't know that we would supply that stuff for these guys. So that's up to you guys if you want us to do that. But
Well, if the county supplies it, then
I would have to supply it. So how much? would
Well,
that-
you
how
didn't
much-
have to supply it for Versatile, right?
Right, that's the agreement in my contract, but
Mm-hmm.
that's what I'm asking is if it's not supplied, then I have to supply that. That's an extra cost on top of that I would have to supply.
Okay.
So I would need to know what that cost is because what's the difference in that amount of money?
So I would say that you work with Ashley and Dan and you see what the comparison is between the two contracts, and then we'll talk about it again.
Okay. Okay.
We
Thank
just
you
gotta
for
have the
this. I
right
appreciate
numbers.
that. Yeah, I just have been waiting a long time to get some services and I just haven't, and so I will wait and I will come back.
But this
So
is the
thank
first
you.
time you've talked to us about any of it,
Sure,
so.
thank you. Thank you
Thank
for your
you.
time.
All right. SICOG. Was Wes gonna be here today? No?
He's not going to make it. He had an appointment that he could not change.
Okay.
So Charity Staggs, Southeast Idaho Council of Governments. There's a couple of things on the agenda. The first one is a request to proceed with the application process for the Cottonwood Valley Restoration Project Phase 3. It would be a $240,000 grant ask with a $24,000 match by the landowner, and we would hear back in approximately fall of 2025.
So, we've done a few of these now. How do you feel about them?
It's getting better and better every time we go. It's definitely a rough start.
You got a learning curve?
Definitely a learning curve, but the more that we go, the better it gets, and we've now got templates that are just getting better and better for all the procurement processes and the contract processes, and we just can continue to make those as better as we can go. So.
Comments, Jeff?
Nope, I'm all for this one. I'm glad to see it moving faster. Makes me happy.
All right, a motion?
Mr. Chair, I'd move that we approve the project request for the Cottonwood Valley Phase 3.
All right.
Cool. All right, the next one is the Little Red Hen project. This is a property located near Johnny Creek. Same numbers as above. However, that one, there's a potential that it may qualify for the hazard fuel reduction program, which does not require a match. So there's two questions in that one: is should I proceed with the application process? And if I find that it does qualify for that program with no match, can I switch over to that one?
No brainer.
If there was a match, though, it would be by the landowners again, so it still wouldn't be kept
It's not, yeah.
matched.
Are we in the county on this one? Or is this in the city, if it's in the Johnny Creek area?
It's the county side.
Okay. All right, Mr. Chair, I'd move that we approve the grant application for the Little Red Hen project.
We have a motion, all in favor say aye.
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 The next one was a really interesting one. This is about the grant we submitted, the Bannock County submitted back in April for work to be done at Lava Ranches and Crystal Springs. The funder contacted me. They said that they are just late getting their awards out. They should have put them out in September, but they've had a lot of staff turnover, so they're just getting to it now. Looks like this one is on the list for award, but before they proceed with that award process, they asked if the county would be willing to do an addition to it. And that addition includes 350 acres of hand thinning near Mink Creek and increasing the ask to $250,000, which would be a $16,000 increase from the original ask. And they told me that that particular, it would be a total of 550 acres with a $250,000 ask, but Greg from BLM told me that it's significantly less expensive to do the Mink Creek area. And also, once an agreement is in place, it is very easy to do modifications if they're needed.
How's this one with the match?
There is no match required on this one.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Chair, I would, excuse me, I would move that we accept the project proposal as suggested.
We have a motion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
I don't see a signature line on that one.
It's just formal approval for the record.
All right.
And would you like to join me on this one?
Hi, my name is Karen Crumble, and I'm with the office, the Bannock County Emergency Management.
Well,
Hello.
welcome.
Hi.
First time I've met you. Sorry. Welcome to Bannock County.
Thank you. Well, I've been an employee for a year with the Sheriff's Office.
Sheriff's Office, okay.
All right. So the next item on the agenda, I believe, is the County Wildfire Protection Plan. And just a note, so the County Wildfire Protection Plan is synonymous with Community Wildfire Protection Plan, and that's why it's still, the contract proposed has Community Wildfire in there. But it sounds like there might be a preference to call it the County Wildfire Plan, since the county is the community in question. So that proposal is,
Well, they make white out.
we can fix that if it is preferred.
We would.
Yeah. So the County Wildfire Protection Plan is a document that is required for these brush management projects. Currently, we've just been using the fire chapter of the hazard mitigation plan with a spreadsheet of projects that we've just been putting on there. And it's been working, and we can continue doing that. However, there is a lot of grant money coming down for not just brush management, but for fighter equipment and vehicles. And having this plan would help us get ahead and know what the county needs to grab that grant, to help us be more successful getting that money to the county. This plan will include all the capabilities that the county's firefighters have, as well as what their needs are, all in one document. And that way it can be also more efficient. Instead of doing onesies and twosies, fire department, 5 radios here, 2 radios there. We know, all right, great, 50 radios are needed throughout the entire county. We can do one grant ask, get them all in. And that's just an example.
Okay. And the cost on this is $7,500?
Not too much.
And that's coming out of this grant?
The Homeland Security grant funds, yes.
Okay. Questions?
No, that was mine. It's just, it was budgeted for.
Yeah.
It's Homeland Security grants, so.
Yeah, okay. Okay, Mr. Chair, I'd move that we approve the contract for the community, actually the county wildlife protection plan.
We have a motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. Thank you.
All right. And the next one is the grant writing contract that SICOG proposed, grant writing contract with SICOG and the Office of Emergency Management. Same contract as last year. This is what we've been writing that BLM grant for, the hazard fuel reduction grants for, as well as many others. Right now, there hasn't been anything awarded yet, and that is just because it's the bigger the grant, the longer the turnaround, about 1 to 2 years. Right now, there is $889,146.38 of pending asks. Some of that is not through the county, it's actually through fire departments, because being creative, we found out that by going through the fire departments for 2 of the grants, there was a significantly less match required, and those cities were willing to cover it. And then a couple of grants would only award to fire departments. So of those, the county-only funds, which include the Big Onion Fuels Reduction Project, 9 Mile Phase 2, and the BLM grant that was just talked about, is $714,000.
On the contract, it's referenced the Emergency Management District. Is that?
Oh, same
why?
thing, yeah, Emergency Management District.
Okay, because I didn't
Yeah, you
realize
are
we had
correct.
an Emergency Management District.
Yeah, you are correct.
It's kind of like a community.
It was news to me.
Yeah.
It's
I
synonymous.
heard that the other day and had the same question.
Because I don't know that the county is over an Emergency Management District before.
Did we have district in the contract last year? Do you remember?
I believe we did, because the only change I made to this one was the dates. And that's a change that we can make if it is preferred.
Well, where we don't have a district, it's probably preferred to have the correct terminology on there.
Office? Does that sound right?
Yeah, the Office of Emergency Management instead of district, so it'd be
Yeah.
office.
It's
up
fixed
here.
on the top, but throughout the document, it's not.
Oh,
Yeah.
true. So 2 document changes.
Yeah.
And all the way to the title or to the signature page.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure Ernie can sign that way.
Yeah, I can make those changes and get them to you.
Sorry, I mentioned those to Braeden, but he
Yeah,
has
not a
been out
problem.
sick, so he probably just didn't get those communicated.
Well, should we clear it up and have it ready for Tuesday?
That's fine.
Would
Yes.
that work?
Oh, well, it does say
Up at the top.
here and referred to as
Oh, it states it at the top, it does, but.
But I can still make that change. It's not a problem.
Would you prefer that, Ernie?
Yes, yes.
Sorry, Chair.
Okay. I will get those fixed.
All right.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions on that one? Or any other changes I should make?
No, no. Just little clarifications. We'll be good.
Yeah, not a problem.
Thanks, guys.
All right, thank you so much.
All right, thank you. All right, Christy, you're representing Braeden.
I'm here for Braeden Clayson today. If it's okay with you, I'd like to bring up Julie and Clark back for this conversation.
Okay.
I'd like to have a seat here.
It'll probably make the conversation go a little easier.
Probably.
Got some pictures, see if you don't know what we're talking about. The copy is kind of dark.
Yeah, I've got it.
You got that one?
Yeah, I've got it here.
Here's like a real picture from the ground.
I know what you're talking about.
You can do that more. You go.
So about, I want to say 2 weeks ago, Braeden received a phone call from your lawyer in Salt Lake and requested that we look into allowing them to purchase this parcel number R385-302-1903. I have reached out to Jeremy Messick and he has sent me it's really 4 pieces. It's 4 parcels and 3 pieces of property. And they go all the way back, the deeds go all the way back to the 1920s. I did email them to Jeff. I forgot to include those in the packet. So Nancy's done a little bit of research on some of the properties. So I don't know if she has any input. And then I'm not sure if Brian has anything to say.
Okay, Nancy?
Just in the limited time I've had to just look quickly back in the minutes of some of these parts or the deeds that were sent have to do with the right of way on the Portland River during the flood program with the
Corps of Engineers.
Engineers. So it probably needs looked into by a better land person than myself.
Can I say something?
Yes.
So we're not interested in the river portion of it. We're only interested in the portion here where you can see it's just this little roadway that used to be Kraft Road that probably came through. And so we were hoping that maybe you could annex that portion away from the other pieces. And then there's even like a straight piece that goes across the road that we're not interested in. So when you come in, as you can see this picture right here, if you come Kraft Road, and if you're familiar with there, Kraft Road comes around and then circles into the Hoku area. Well, it must have used to have come like this and curved into where the Kraft building was currently in existence, and the road comes in and then it goes straight and butts up to the UP rail line. And so this is the only piece that we're interested in because this is our property here. And as you can see with this picture, the road's been abandoned for 50 plus years. So right here, or it's a little too dark on the copier, but if you kind of look really close, you can see the black dots within the roadway. These are all these trees. The plow doesn't even, the county plow or whoever plows Kraft Road, it doesn't even come around this curvature to us. It only goes to Hoku. So it's been abandoned by the county for who knows how long. We've owned the property for 23 years. And then previous to that, it was owned for 5 years. And then we believe the other owner purchased it actually when the Kraft building was dormant or vacant. So the county hasn't been on this property for a really long time. So this is the only thing we're interested in. And so we were hoping that it could be annexed and then get its own, I guess I don't know the real procedure, but get a different parcel number. And then I don't know if we can offer to buy it for $1, including like fees that it costs to do all the transfer things over. But that's kind of what we're hoping for. And with what we want to do to move forward, we just have to get like a signature in writing, say that yes, we're willing to do this, and then we can move forward because I know the process that way will take longer, but that's kind of what we're looking for. So we're not interested in the river property, even that little piece that goes across. We're just only interested in the piece, and it actually runs right through our property. We actually have rail track that goes over the top, and I don't know if, as things have come in the future, like as things have been futuristically and we've gotten better surveys or whatever, it's showing up on computers now, where before, all those years back, it never showed up on a survey, because the owner before us never showed up on a survey for him when he purchased it, didn't show up on a survey for us when we purchased it. It's now just showing up. So I'm assuming it's, new technology that's picking this kind of stuff up. So when we got our survey done, they found it, and then we've talked with realtors and stuff, and it's showing up on their surveys. But we're not interested in the river property. We only just want this roadway that was probably maintained for the Kraft building when it was in operation. It goes nowhere. It just goes right into the UP rail line. So.
Okay.
Well, our options are limited when it's dealing with land. You could always go like a vacation route, but to do that, there's a process. We have to have a hearing and do that way. I know it's on the agenda for maybe looking at it as an odd lot, right? The other one is if the county decided to sell it, that would have to go to public auction. We couldn't just pick a person individually. We'd have to go that route first. So I guess what I'm interested in today is what's the process the commission, which one does the commission want to pursue? Because on the agenda we had maybe looking at it as an odd lot, and there's still a process for that. I'm happy to discuss what that process is, but there's different options being presented, so
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, it's on the agenda, because I told Braeden, I says, you're getting a lot of calls. We can have it on the agenda to get some information, because I got to have somebody requesting this. I'm not just going to go start separating property all throughout the county. That's just not going to happen without request and stuff coming. So that's why this initial conversation is just to find out what the request is, so that we have some options. And then I need to talk with you. We need to talk to you as commissioners to see what our options are and what's the best for the county.
Is a roadway considered, wouldn't it be considered, is it encumbrance the same thing as an odd lot? Because wouldn't that be what it was an encumbrance that went through there that's been abandoned?
Mr. Chair, I can answer that if you want. So if we're looking, so the odd lot is defined by Idaho code. Essentially, if the commission, if they have county real property, they want to declare it as an odd lot, they're going to have to make a finding via resolution that it is not needed for public purposes and is in excess of the needs for the county, and it's an irregular shape, or it's just a remnant that has primarily value only to the adjoining property owner. So that's the standard they would be looking at. So if we're looking for an odd lot, that's the findings that the commission would have to make via resolution, saying, hey, it's in excess, we don't need it anymore, and it has this weird shape, and so that's why, or it's just a remnant of something else, and it really doesn't have value to the county, but it has value to the adjacent property owner, and so we're going to declare that to be an odd lot.
Can I ask a question? So of this parcel, you only want the roadway. So I don't think that could be odd lot, Brian, because they would have to separate that out, and if it's not on any records as an easement or a roadway, we cannot abandon the road. So I think it might have to go to vacation.
Well, I'm just talking specifically about the parcel that their attorney had brought to me. Like if the county wanted to get rid of that parcel that they have, the entire parcel would have to declare it an odd lot. So that's.
We can't odd lot the river right away.
Yeah.
I don't believe.
But they could odd lot the real property.
So we're going to have to look at it and see what our options are through legal, the processes that we have to go through.
Have you guys talked to an engineer?
An engineer? For what purpose?
Most people that do a vacation, which if that's the process you end up having to do, go to an engineer first, and they look at all of this stuff, they pull up all of the deeds, they figure all of that out, and they create the description for the property that would be deeded to you. So that's not something we do.
So you're just talking like a surveyor or something?
Yeah, an engineer, surveyor, yeah.
Yeah, it's already been surveyed, so,
That, just that section of property.
Well, they did the whole thing and found that section of property. It wouldn't be hard to have a surveyor survey that exact section of
And
property.
they can help you write your petition for vacation if it has to go that route.
Okay.
So all I'm telling you is we're not signing anything. We're not giving you any guarantees until we investigate and find out what our possibilities and what our options are.
But the big question you guys are really interested in today is, would we be willing to move forward with something like this?
Well, in reality, yeah. And in reality, the route we're headed, it's sort of pressing. But if not, and things don't follow through, we still need to get this figured out, because that piece of property is right in the middle of our operation, which we didn't even know existed
Right.
until we started heading.
And what's your operation? What's it in the middle of?
We
We work rail cars. We work on railroad cars. We're a private shop.
Okay.
So that, the piece, it goes between two pieces we have.
Yeah.
And years ago, it's about 2017, I bought the other side of it from Corey Lamb, or Henry Fernandez owned that acre and a half or whatever it is. And that was in between them, our property and that little corner where you drive into our yard. And there was a fence line and trees, huge trees in the center of this. I tore all the fence out, tore the trees out. I had no
You
idea
tore
that-
trees out of our property?
Like this.
Where's the sheriff?
So we didn't even know it existed. Yeah. At that
Well,
time.
to me, this is one of those properties that we have scattered throughout Pocatello that we do not want, that we'd like to get rid of. So I would like to go on the record and say, we would like to try to help get rid of this in whatever way we can legally move forward with that. So if that helps you guys with
Yes.
what you're looking for, again, that's no commitment,
Right.
other than I think it's our intent to try to get rid of as many of these little things that are hanging out there as we can.
But I won't put that in writing.
That's on the record now.
Well, I won't put it in writing that we're guaranteeing that they're gonna get it, because.
Well, I didn't give the
No,
guarantee.
but because he just said that if we have to put it out for auction, it's gotta go out for auction. So that's what I'm telling you. I can't tell you that you get that property.
Right, I understand that there's rules and things that probably need to be followed, but also I think based upon our business that we've had for 25 years and whatever, that could cause a real problem if that little piece, that there's gotta be a creative way, because I can see that little piece going up for auction and somebody coming in just wanting to be ornery and being like, oh, well, we're gonna bid 100,000 and we've gotta pay 100,000 for a road that's existed, that's yours, that we've maintained and improved on our property for years. So there's gotta be a more creative way and protection, you as representing us as commissioner, that you could probably help us with versus just say, well, there's nothing I can do.
Well, we will do everything we can within the
Okay,
bounds of the law.
I understand.
That's the key right there.
I understand.
I won't break the law for anybody.
And if there's a
Not
public
asking you to
road or
break
a
the law.
public right-of-way, even if you were to sell the property and that would still be a public road, you would have to go through a vacation process to.
Right, and I read the
Kind of private.
vacation process, and the vacation
Right.
process is a hearing, it's a notice, it's
Yep,
like
it's
a
a public
30-day,
hearing
it's a
and-
public hearing, and so that's fine if that's the route we want to go, and if that's the route we can go. My question is, how quickly can we move on this, and how quickly can the motion get started, the ball get rolling, so that we can move forward with this?
Well,
Yeah.
it could be 90 days. Just
What's the reason for 90 days, if I could just understand?
between all the public hearings and advertising and by court, by state statute, we gotta give a 30-day notice. I mean, we just had to take a vacation that we didn't give, we give 22 days notice, so we had to cancel that because we didn't give the proper notices. So it could take up to 90 days.
Okay, so, but when I was reading on here, it said it was a 30 days notice and then the hearing. So, reading the Idaho code, what would be the reason for it taking up to 90 days?
We haven't seen an application yet.
So if we get an application in, that's my question, when can the notice be put in? Do we have to wait till next Thursday?
It would have to wait until it come before us as an application, and then we have to put out the notice of the public hearing and when that would go out. And then we have to wait the 30 days and like I
Okay,
said,
so just to be clear, help me to clearly understand, because, so we turn in the application, then we wait for 30 days, and then a hearing's 30 days, or I don't understand.
then we have to publish it about the hearing.
So once planning and development receives your application, they'll let me know. I will make sure we've got a 30-day notice and set the date. I've got to give time to get that notice on an agenda for the commissioners to sign, so that would be like 3 to 5 days depending on where it falls. And then the 30 days after that, so that's about 5 weeks-ish.
Okay.
Okay, and then.
Hal, come up here,
hearing.
please. You walked in just the right time.
And then we would have the hearing and it would just depend on.
Time period for vacation or
This is our planning and development director.
talking about the property over there off Kraft Road. That some individuals, we have 3 parcels, they're county parcels, that some individuals are looking at. And so the options of the vacation, putting them up for auction, time periods,
It's 3 parcels.
Will be approximately 90 days. And the reason being, it depends on their end relative to providing legal descriptions of the property. That's the biggest hurdle that anybody has relative to a vacation, is that the property has to have a legal description. It may be already structured in a deed that we can accept. If not, they would need to hire a surveyor, get on that, get a legal description put together, et cetera.
So if we're looking at a vacation, I mean, the council could initiate it by resolution, but they don't have to. But also, if you're a property holder, or a resident, you need to file a petition with the commission. And then once that petition is ready to go, the commission will meet and establish dates and then get ready for that public hearing. So that's kind of, I know time is of the essence, it sounds like to you and stuff, and I know we try to move as fast as we can, but if there's going to be vacation, there has to be something that kind of kickstarts that.
So a second question for you too, is there's actually 3-4 parcels here. They're wanting to separate the parcels out, separate them.
Have them come to our office either tomorrow, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We'll sit down with them, schedule an hour or more if needed. We'll pull everything up on the map. We'll look at the deeds and see if that'll work, and we may be able to accelerate it. But if they started with our office, we would be able to probably help them as quick as anybody. And then once we have deeds, et cetera, then we'll work with Christie so that a notice can be sent out relative to the properties. There are some things that when we meet with them, we will need to make sure that vacation meets vacation state statute relative to who actually is entitled to this once it's vacated. Those particular legal issues will help them understand, and then work with county legal to make sure that we're not misdirecting them based upon our research together, and get it to Christie and move it forward. And then it's just a matter of being on the commission's calendar for public notice, vacation, public hearing, done. So that's why I said potentially 90 days.
Well, you walked in at the right time.
From a legal standpoint, potentially 90 days.
All right.
Okay, sounds
Okay.
great.
You got a
Thank
plan?
you. Yep, that'll be fantastic.
All right, thank you.
I'm not on the agenda until later, so we'll walk out in the hall and we'll set an appointment right now.
All right. I'll just have
Tristan's here.
I'll Shanda. Hammond's who he's here with.
Yeah.
Shanda.
Good morning, Commissioners. Shanda Crystal, Chief Procurement Officer. I have a procurement update for the board today. The first I would like to start with was a new one for domestic violence grant that was awarded for the Family Specialist Services. So these services are not required by code to go out to bid, but it did start with Kim in the last grant. that it just gave it open, honest to everybody that's interested. We gave notice to any providers, and they really liked that, being able to just tell everybody that we let everybody apply. They were ranked accordingly, and then someone was awarded the contract. And so then that's when she got the new award. She wanted to move forward in the same fashion. So while it doesn't hit any requirements for us, we go through the same process with it. And that's what we're starting today. We have drafted it and sent it out to Kim Talbot for review. She's already got comments back to me, and so we'll finalize that and hopefully get it published in the next couple of weeks to get that moving forward for her. The next one is the forensic pathologist building. On that one, Hal has set a meeting in the next couple of weeks to meet with LCA, our design company, to be able to have all the players in the room and knock out questions, concerns, the property, things like that, that will then help LCA move forward with the design. As they give me an approximate date of when that design is going to be back, I can draft a calendar to present to the board for an estimated project calendar as we move forward with that project. We'll know more then. On the emergency services for the Lava Ranch area, Charity gave me an update that Joe did go out for the treatment prescription. However, because of the beetle infestation that they are having out there, this is going to take a longer time to create that and to make sure that we are as effective as we possibly can in how we remove. If we need to, with the adjacent property owners, if they also have piles of, dead leaves or beetle problems, that we really communicate with those owners that are next to us, that if that could be taken care of, right, that we're doing this, if they could work on their area. But to be as effective as we possibly can on that project, that treatment prescription is going to take longer than we anticipated, longer than it has with either the Cottonwood or the Smith Gulch projects. And that being said, we now anticipate that pre-bid to happen in the spring. Because to give time to get that treatment prescription, to get a hold of all the property owners that we need to, that's where we currently have that pre-bid scheduled, is in the spring once that snow breaks. Well, let's move. I do have a Cottonwood. Commissioner Moser, last week you asked if that had been wrapped up, closed up. Charity was also able to tell me that she was meeting with the landowners this week in regards to grant match. It was mentioned again today that that's the property owners are the ones that do those grant match. So she was meeting with them this week and hoping to finish up that matching documentation to then be able to move forward in the next couple of weeks to close out that grant. So we're hoping to see that soon.
Well, that grant match isn't required ahead of the work.
They do it as they go.
Right, the commitment, right, is there, but yeah, as they do their work and their piece and documentation of it.
And hopefully enough money.
It's gonna. So the last update I have you is the detention center roof. We have Versico rep is scheduled next week. Okay, sorry, the Versico rep is scheduled for the final inspection next week. They came out, they had a few things that they wanted our contractor to button up, redo, something like that. The contractor came out, redid that work, and then we're just needing Versico to come out and just say, great, everything that they asked us to do, we did, and then they should be able to release that. Levi's hoping that Versico will be here next week in order to do that, and then maybe a week or two to get that warranty released to us. And that is all I have, unless the board has questions.
Anything?
No, it's good.
No, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. You're up.
I'm going to move slow to give Hal and Tristan a moment to join us.
Thank you.
That's tomorrow morning at 9.
Money, I believe.
Perfect.
First flush shows a little bit of difficulty, but for the most part, pretty clean and straightforward. Kendall, where are you?
Good morning, Emma Iannacone, Public Information Officer. I'm here with Hal Jensen and Tristan Borkman of the Planning and Development team.
We are here to discuss a public outreach plan for the edits to the comprehensive plan. I will let Hal explain a little bit about that for some background.
Real quickly, more so probably, Commissioner Moser, you understand the history of what's taken place with the department, starting with my employment and prior to. Just so Commissioner Huff is aware, I started the 1st of July 2019. The comprehensive plan has been started under a previous director two before me, and then another director, and then myself. The plan started in, I believe, 2018, and by the time we finished through bringing me up to par on what was going on with the comprehensive plan, taking care of issues in the department, that took 6 months. Took us to 2020, then COVID. It took us through all of the issues of COVID in 2020 to finally get it adopted in 21. In the process of all of that, Tristan was hired just prior to me. We have since made changes in the department. Now that we're moving forward with a rewrite of the ordinance, the guiding document of the rewrite of the ordinance by state statute as well as land use planning, we should be using the comprehensive plan as the guiding document for the rewrite of the ordinance. As Tristan and I, as others in the office, have spent time looking at the comprehensive plan and looking at the history as well as our own experiences at the last few public meetings, seeking public input, there are some gaps, some holes, perhaps particular things that don't align with not the comprehensive plan, but the vision statement from the commission of the county, etc. And so we stepped back long enough on the rewrite of the ordinance and had a conversation with Commissioner Huff. Through that conversation, there were some suggestions made. Tristan and I have then worked with staff about how we would gain new public information and input. We can't go in and edit the comprehensive plan without public input. So we are anticipating to go to each small city in the spring, starting in actually midwinter and then into spring, January, February, March. And we would like to seek as much public information as possible. One of the suggestions was touch base with elections and find out the 2-year cycles and the 4-year cycles and look for those people that are consistently on those lists, because that's an indicator that they're involved with civic matters. So Emma and I went and met with Julie, and she provided Emma a list.
Through a public records request.
Thank you. And we asked Emma to secure potential costs of a number of mailers. She's been working with Tristan at this point very preliminarily on how we would structure that little card and what information we would be seeking and publishing, the times, the dates, the cities, etc. And we think that that will give us the best amount of information seeking public input. Prior to Emma, and when the comprehensive plan was originally advertised for public meetings in 2018 and 2019, they were not well attended.
I have those numbers available if you want.
I will turn that over to Emma here in just a second, but when we sought information with Emma's assistance relative to the rewrite of the ordinance, which we did this last spring, we had more responses through her efforts than we ever did advertising out of our office without a public information officer. And the same occurred as well when we sought information relative to the county's input on open space. We feel that going down this particular path is going to help us refine that comprehensive plan, which will then give us information that will rewrite and write a better ordinance as we go forward. So that's why we're before you. I did speak with Christie and said, hey, there's a potential that this was not on our radar when we put our budget together, and so we would be requesting funding to help us with these neighbors. So that's where we're headed. That's the reason. There's complete reasoning behind it and why.
So as he mentioned, the public input on this comprehensive plan was minimal. I went back and looked in the comprehensive plan. It has an outline of the methods they used to garner public outreach and the number of people who provided input. They had approximately 70 attendees at their open houses and nearly 200 comments is what's stated here. So through these efforts, we're hoping to blow those numbers out of the water. So as you see, I've sent this around. I just apologize for not printing more of these, but I've been gathering quotes, estimates from local printing shops that will handle not only the printing of the postcard, but also the mailing and sending it. And this was a very new project for me, so please take these numbers with a grain of salt, as I am a creative person and not a mathematician. So I will have to confirm these numbers, but and also I learned a lot about mailing through this process. Specifically that every door direct mailing is often cheaper than sending to specific addresses. So you'll see that in these quotes over here, like for litho printing, to send to 40,000 addresses to those specific addresses with their name on the line would cost about $11,000, but to send to 40,000 addresses through EDDM, it would be less than $10,000. The difference between EDDM and direct mailing is they give the postman, post people like a bundle of 50 cards, and they just drop in each mailbox as they go through. So it's not like, to Ms. Iannacone, it's to resident. We also estimated high for these. So as he mentioned, we pulled the numbers for who voted in the 2020 and 2018 elections. And the number of voters in 2020 was 40,000. So we went with that so that we would get the highest number for our estimates. But as you know, multiple voters live in the same home, so that would bring our costs down. And I checked with the assessor's office this morning to see how many residential addresses we have in Bannock County, and that is plus or minus about 32,644. So that will bring those costs down as well. And if we do decide to go through the EDDM route, that will also bring our costs down. So what I'm looking for today from you is, if this is something that we're interested in pursuing, for me to get harder, faster numbers, and what direction we want to go down, whether we want to mail to each specific address, if we want to do EDDM to every residential address in Bannock County, or if we want to target specific zip codes that lie outside of city limits, which would bring our costs down and our numbers down even more, but would also provide more targeted input, as the comprehensive plan is for Bannock County and not, City of Pocatello.
And just an FYI, our respective budget goal was to be a maximum of about $4,000, and that's part of why, as we bring this to you as a commission, do you have other council or creative approaches to the total numbers that we would be trying to reach out to? So this was just our exercise to show you where it possibly could be. Any other ideas?
Yeah.
Funding.
So Hal came to me right before I was getting ready to go to the fair board meeting. I've not had very much time because this morning was a little chaotic, as you know. But while we were sitting in meetings, I tried to look for a couple of options. We probably have some money in county operations. We did budget money for potential litigation, grant match funds. We have not identified any uses for those dollars, so potentially we could try to take $4,000 out of county operations and then just utilize bottom line and take it from one of those areas. I've not done the juvenile detention billing yet, so there could be potential money there. There could also be potential overage. So
Do we
that's.
What about PILT money or that? Have we identified all of that stuff?
PILT money is all identified at this point, and I prefer not to use PILT money for something like this, if we can fit it within county operations. Once Emma has a dollar amount, if she'll let me know in advance, then I can better identify.
With those numbers real quick, if we were to take that high number of 40,000 and cut it in half and say 20, and we were to send direct mail to 20,000, and we were to receive, man,
3% would be a good response rate for
yeah,
direct.
if I was to get 1,000 to 1,500 respondents with input relative to either email that they could send to us or direct face-to-face at these meetings that we have tentatively scheduled, etc., we would have much more solid information shaping, steering edits to the comprehensive plan. So that's why it's before you.
Well, the comprehensive plan needs to be brought up to date. I mean, every meeting that we have that's brought in against us, and good or bad, it should be there to benefit every resident in the county, not just specific ones that want to pick certain things to pick up about their neighbors.
Emma and I were talking about this yesterday, and I'm glad she brought this up, because I was debating, do we send it to everybody outside of Chubbuck and Pocatello, outside of those city limits, because that's more impacted by the county, or the comprehensive plan, or do we include that? And so I was hoping for some discussion today on that.
I think, yes, you have to include them, just simply because of the contractors and the people that are associated with it.
So let me step back on that comment real quick, Commissioner. And this is a point of disagreement for the simple fact that Chubbuck and Pocatello have their own respective comprehensive plans that dictate what happens within those jurisdictions. And that's why I think...
Well, so does every city down south.
That's correct. So those are the particular items that I was going to also add that maybe we don't need to focus relative to the small cities as well. However, Income and Lava, because of their potential growth rates and what's taking place there, not that I want to push aside, say, McCammon or Downey, we see a lot of public input when we have public hearings relative to land use with our office when it's adjacent to those two communities.
So how did that go last night?
Denied.
Oh, it's tonight?
But it was done with very good decorum by all people.
Denied.
How late were you guys there?
And to go with Hal, I feel like our comprehensive plan has a greater impact on Lava, McCammon, Downey, Income than it does the residents of Pocatello. So I would still want to include them because of that. I think it does have a greater impact as they grow and expand.
And one of the items that you'll recognize from the comprehensive plan is that there was a very focused group that attended every meeting. And it was that group that steered the majority of the plan. And I don't think a lot of people in Bannock County understood how that plan was developed. And so we would really like to gain greater insight and knowledge from people that aren't part of that group that was steering and shaping the original, edits of the comprehensive plan.
So we can cut it. We can go to outside of the city limits of Chubbuck and Pocatello.
And to your concern about, wanting to include the developers, the engineers and whatnot, we can target them through free methods, such as email lists, which we've used in the past for surveys.
Okay.
So that we would still, try to get their input as well.
Could even provide notice, if you guys have a billboard or something, they're in there plenty, right?
Yes.
So that could...
Yeah.
But like I was gonna say, we can go with the lower number, see what transpires, and if we're not getting responses, then we'll figure out something else to do, but that could be our first step.
Yeah.
So targeting the zip codes outside of Pocatello and Chubbuck city limits, including the zip codes that are within city limits of South County cities, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I can find more
And
information.
if you think you're gonna be a little bit more than 4,000, let me know.
Yes. as soon as possible.
Yesterday's notice was much better than this one, so thank you.
I'll keep you-
Usually
I'll
I
keep you-
can, that small of a dollar amount I can usually come up with fairly quickly.
And real quickly, we experienced this very much last night. We have an ordinance from 97 and 98, and we have a comprehensive plan from 2021. And there is much contradiction and conflict between those two at this point. And there's also a fair amount of conflict and contradiction in the comprehensive plan for the simple fact that an applicant can say it meets these particular goals and policies of the comprehensive plan, and those that are on the opposing side can say, well, it also meets this. And you have that internal conflict, at a public hearing, which is good for the process. The reason that I bring this up is comprehensive plan is a guiding document. And when the council deliberates, and well, as when it comes before you, it is for deliberation relative to the law, which is the ordinance. And so we get a little bit of conflict back and forth, and we would like to get the comprehensive plan clean, with some edits, input from the constituency of Bannock County, and then have it drive the ordinance so that we have we have an ordinance that's being driven more by a comprehensive plan that has input from the community. Because right now, those numbers that Emma cited to you from the process before are really weak. And I don't know that that's a really good document.
Well, they had 70 people attend, and how many hearings did they have, or how many sessions?
It doesn't explain how many hearings.
Well, I attended at least 3,
I think there were 8.
and it was the same people. I mean, so I don't even say you had 70 people.
Right.
But you had the same one, write down the same thing at each hearing that they went to.
And the issue is, in my opinion, looking back, of course, it's very limited, but in my experience, it's because advertisement was very weak. It just wasn't published and noticed in good fashion. I was thinking if we're more direct to people through these zip codes, I think we have a greater potential than not.
Well, I think with what's happening in our county, that's where you're going to get a lot of response, because it's in their backyard.
Right. Well, thank you for the direction. This is very helpful. I'll keep Hal and Christy apprised as we get more accurate quotes and come back to you.
That said, she'll keep Tristan apprised.
Oh, yes, Lord.
The reason being is that Tristan's actually done the majority of the work at this point. I spoke more because I wanted to give you a historical background, giving us the rationale for the reason why we're before you, as opposed to, oh, we think we should do this.
Okay, Tristan, you got 2 minutes. Any additions?
Nope, I think they both covered it.
All right.
I mean, and ultimately, once the plan is ready to be presented to the council, we're gonna have to advertise it in the newspaper and have a public hearing. So people are gonna have another chance to come in. They have 2 here.
First goes to the council.
And then as a recommendation to the commission, and then have another hearing.
And another public hearing that gets advertised. So we're going to end up
Yeah.
not only going through these community meetings, but then 2 public hearings. And because it's the entire county, Emma will be heavily involved in how that's advertised again.
But I understand the meetings are to get input to put it in front of the council. So
Yeah,
you're not, but then that can also change, as the council hears and then as the commission hears comments from the public too. So it can always be a evolving document.
All right. Thank you very much.